So I've just had a pretty bad day, and it's bothering me so much. Um, and I wanted to start with this thing that I've just thought of, because every now and then I just have these thoughts about, okay, like my situation's bad, but is there something worse? And to be honest, there are things that are worse than my situation. I can't lie and say that, me being depressed and unhappy is like the worst thing. Um, it does leave me being less active and less useful, I guess. Um, but it got me thinking as well about how there are these situations in the world where you can't simply just leave it be. And, well, as I'll explain, one of the cases we're in at the moment with the current fascist rising, that's what we'll call it, because I don't know if there's an actual term for it. But the fascist rising is a very real thing and a very big danger. But I'd also pair with it the bigotry rising as well, because that seems to be a dominant narrative in media and protests at the moment. So the issue that comes with that is the many complications that come with it naturally. So bigotry will lead to human rights harm and human issues. Then there'll be some issues around various areas of the world, like other countries where there could be a war, genocide, where there'll be an accident currently happening. Also, the other thing currently happening too. And there's also space issues, because believe it or not, some of our biggest threats can come from outer space. That's not the sun exploding, it's actually something distant. There's been warnings of a meteor, supposedly, that has the chance to hit Earth. I can't remember when it was projected to appear, but I'd rather not know at this point. Or worry about it at the time. But this causes issues because if there were a way to prevent a meteor from impacting the Earth, especially one apparently as big, I don't know how big it is actually, then it should stand to reason that we need to keep people alive so we can fucking deal with the fucking impacts, like just prevent the meteor from entering our atmosphere to begin with. Like, it's really important, and we need minds working on this rather than military equipment and God knows what. Like, there's probably many other things out there as well, like many evolutions that we need. Maybe AI might save the day, but we'll have to wait and see for that. I don't really support AI in general, but that's only because it has massive environmental impacts and deteriorates human lives. It seems to be one atrocity after another in this world. And for some reason we can't even focus on the bigger issues. Like, if Russia has stopped the war with Ukraine and if Israel stopped killing Gaza, we could focus on this fucking outer space threat. And no, I'm not talking about the UFO, because that's very suspicious shit. It's not anything to be worried about because it's not actually in colour and it's not actually visible enough to make out what it is. So it's just a distraction from the obvious problem of the Epstein files. That's what's Charlie Kirk's shooting and probably many other things. So it all sort of ties back to greed and billionaires and poor leadership. It always seems to. And that's where the big worry is. We still got all these problems to solve, and yet the outer space threats can be the biggest one. But we can't hope to address that with incompetent leaders and the bigotry and fascist rise, because that's literally what it is. Like, the reform voters, Republicans, are all fascist and actual bigots a lot of the time. It's not far from the truth, it's not even a reach. That is literally the truth. That's what is being supported here. So, a lot needs to happen, certainly, and there are worse things than just myself or others just going through depression at the moment. So at this point, we need to fight for our rights and give a shit, really, because we probably won't survive or won't be here in the next few decades without it. Not to mention climate change. I completely forgot to mention that, but that is a bigger issue than outer space threat. It seems to cause many issues because people can't seem to agree on it, and it's just dumb. Like, climate change is objectively real. If you've ever been in a heat wave recently, you'd realise, oh, this is getting worse. I think the UK peaked at around 29 this year. Last year was like 31, but still, that's bad. Like, that's so bad because it means that the planet's warming up. I don't even have any memory of heat waves that were over 27 degrees. So it's really strange that this is happening, and obviously it's climate change. It's warming up the atmosphere, and we've also got gas emissions and pollution. There's also light pollution, I'd argue. We need to solve that issue because I'd love to look at the night sky and see a galaxy rather than fucking darkness like we currently see. It's just weird, really. This is a problem that we have. It's very bizarre. Sorry, I've been AFK. I forgot what I was doing. I was editing the video. What else is there? Anyway, it's I don't even know what else to say here. It's really important that we address human rights issues, but we need to address these other things. It's hard to really put a priority on it, other than the fact that the younger generation will be the ones that live through this, and we need to prioritise their well-being over our own, which is why far-right leaning people do not make any sense. Because they're compromising a children's future for the sake of their own wants and needs, supposedly. There's not really many needs, to be honest. But the wants are often very trivial and nonsensical. And these typically range from, like, taking away women's rights to something like what was it? I'm trying to think of the other thing. Take away women's rights, taking away racial rights as well, and disability rights. Like, there's many things that this has a domino effect on. I remember I watched a video today actually on not Joe Biden. No, it's much older. Bernie Sanders visiting Western Virginia, and he had won the vote there once apparently, according to that video. Anyway, I could have heard that wrong. But then he lost to Trump because Trump promised to address all the things that that country had problems with as part of the Make America Great campaign. And in the years that he's been in power and looking over that, supposedly, Trump has done nothing. And this is just the extent of what a liar will do. They will make these promises about workers' rights and opening back a coal mine facility for some reason. Not really sure what that's about exactly. But because of these empty promises, people are just going to turn on Trump anyway, which is good. But some who are diehard and just don't see it any other way, it's going to end up being really harmful in the long run. It's going to mean that we're going to have to wait longer to solve these issues. But this is why I say that the people voting against young people's futures, for example, not voting a socialist, which young people very much are in line with even, it's going to cause much damage, like much more than we're seeing already. It's going to mean no workers' rights if we don't vote a socialist. It's going to mean more inequality. It's going to be worse rights for even older people and religious people. Because a socialist will, at least from what I've understood of it anyway, will prioritise the reality that we have and try to favour everyone else as much as possible, like, and tax billionaires to get the wealth back. There's many different things it will do. And this is what I mean by not compromising young people's futures. At the end of the day, they're the ones that are going to live longer than you. If you're in your 40s, they're going to live much longer than you. If you're in your 60s, obviously, it's really without a question. And that's why I feel it's selfish to vote against that. And also just listen to them. Like, a lot of people have this idea of what they want the world to be, but have you even asked what others want? Can you just not be selfish for once? Is that so hard? It just makes no sense when people are like this. Like, come on. It's not a hard thing to figure out. There are rights for people who are young who will have needs for things that you didn't have when you were young. And times change. Like, technology is relatively new still, but it's been popularised. It's been marketed as like fast tech, which is annoying. I think most people will agree that fast tech sucks. But that is the sort of world that we're going into because it's because we don't do anything about the billionaires. We don't tax and we don't put regulations in place so they can't do that. Again, compromising a young person's future. And this is why it's so important, because these young people again could pave the way for not only just future but preventing disasters and wars. You know, if somehow Russia gets a new leader and strips the dictatorships, that leader has to be a young person, because I don't see it happening any other way. Fixing Russia requires that amount of work. It'll literally take a young person to do it. To do the job properly, to ensure everyone's got equal rights and stuff. And also just to get rid of Putin, like, without a doubt, like, get him out of power, and that's all it will take. But unfortunately, because of the propaganda, it's possible that they may grow up hating the West and stuff, and even continue a dictatorship, which again is why I say this is important, voting against young people's futures. That's why people need to stand up for what's right. In Russia and in other places like Israel as well. Stand up to these atrocities and prioritise again what young people want, not what you want. It's just stupidly important. And then the final thing I was going to mention here is it's even more important that we get young people happy and safe, because they are going to be the ones that address, say, the meteor problem. They're going to be the ones that address, say, energy problems and climate change. They literally are the future. And compromising that, again, not only selfish, but it also goes against your own fucking will. It's just so dangerous. Like, come on. It's such an obvious issue and it's been ignored. Just fucking gross. Like, why are people like this? It's like reasons that we need to support young people, and it's just one thing after another with the old people again, the older people, and just the misinformed, and again, bigotry and racist? No, fascist, but they are usually racist anyway. But the fascist movements are currently going around. So that's why I bring this up. Again, like, the bigger issues are out there. They need to yet be addressed. But currently you can't do that because we're being voted against. So it's like stupidly dangerous. Like, come on people, do better. Thanks for listening and see you on another time.